Okay, I think we are live. There we go. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Success Scopes with Carol R. Owens. I'll give it a minute here for other people to hop in. For those that are joining us for the first time, my name is Carolyn R. Owens, and I am the chairwoman and CEO of Infinity Coaching Incorporated, where we help you up-level your skills so you can up-level your income. So I see people are joining us now, and I can bet I probably know who the first person to join us is. See if they start chiming in. I'll give it a second because I think I hopped on here a minute or two early. But, okay. Alrighty then. Again, my name is Carolyn Owens, and I am the chairwoman and CEO of Infinity Coaching Incorporated, where we help you up-level your skills so you can up-level your income. And we're here Mondays at 2 p.m. There she is. Hello, Carolyn Farron. She is usually the first one here. So welcome back for Success Scopes. As you're saying, we're here Mondays at 2 p.m. Eastern, where we give you tips, strategies that will help you move forward in your career, your business, and your life. And then we come back on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Well, we call it Follow-Up Friday, where we do a check-in and we see how you implemented the skills or the strategies that we talked about, kind of wrap it all up and send you to have a wonderful, blessed weekend. So we're here, as I said, Monday 2 p.m., Friday 2 p.m. And then we started adding, last week, we started adding what we call Success Scopes Real Talk Thursdays. And we're here 5:30 p.m. on Thursdays. And we talk about, issues of the day, different things that are going on, just real life stuff that we often don't talk about, but we try to tie it into what we've been talking about here on our Monday and our Friday Scopes. And, it's, if you watched the debate last night, if you recall, last Thursday was the first Real Talk Thursday that we did. And we talked about personal responsibility and some of the things that were brought out during the presidential debate there between, Trump and Clinton. And so what was the first question on last night's debate was what we talked about on the Real Talk. And it is the impact and how the election and the different things and the way they're talking to each other and dealing with each other impacts our children. And so an educator, a teacher, that was the very first question she asked. So what we were talking about last week is really real talk, and it's not just, me sitting here talking to you guys about it. It's actually conversations that are taking place, because a lot of kids, as I said, that was their homework assignments to watch the debates. And the teacher was going back thinking the same thing, like, whoa, these kids, these middle schoolers, elementary, high schoolers are watching thinking that's the way we're supposed to be with each other. So I thought it was pretty cool to see it come as the very first question of the night, what we were talking about on Real Talk. And gets back to our subject that we've been talking about is personal responsibility. And we talked about being a victim. We talked about it's not my fault and blaming others for where we are in life and not taking action to achieve our goals and dreams. And a lot of times, if you think about it, that's why we don't achieve our goals and dreams, because we're not taking that personal responsibility for what occurs for us. Yes, and I'll emphasize again, we can't control the actions of other people. We can't, say, hey, we can't say, choose our parents and how they're going to treat us. We can't, have 100% guarantee on how our spouse or our partner is going to treat us, because we can't control them. And the only thing that we can control is ourselves. So it gets back to this whole thing of personal responsibility. So we talked again about being a victim. We talked about blaming other people. And so this week we're going to talk about excuses. All the time that we make excuses. And you guys know I'm kind of that educator, so I like to talk about definitions. So what is an excuse, right? And it's an attempt to lessen the blame attaching to a fault or offense in seeking to defend or justify. So we try to lessen the blame of something that occurred, or we kind of try to deflect it by making excuses. And I would tell you, I saw a lot of deflection in the debate last night. I'm not sure if you guys watched it or not, but I felt as though when questions were asked, they were kind of deflecting off to another issue or another topic that didn't really answer the question at times. But think about it. We start making excuses very, very early on in life. I've never done this one, but you know the kids, the joke, the kids say the dog ate the homework, or, you know, it got my mom actually put my homework in her bag. She took my folder and I took hers. I mean, just different things that we start making excuses in high school, college, why we didn't get our homework done. And so it started way back then, or even when we talk about why we didn't we're telling our parents why we didn't take the trash out, or why we didn't make up our bed, and all those different excuses. It's taught early. We're learning this stuff early on. And if we are parents and we're teaching our kids about, we'll show them those, we call them what, little white lies, or the excuses that we're making to kind of justify why we're not taking action on our careers, our business, our lives, action to our goals and our dreams, and the things that we really want out of life. So, many of us make all these excuses and why we can't have that extraordinary life, why we can't have that amazing career. And some of the most common ones, when you think about it, one is, I don't have enough money. And there was a very great, Evan Carmichael does these 10 lessons from various people, and one of them he did was on Morgan Freeman. And I thought that was one of the best ones I've seen, because he talks about, how he was able to achieve his dream, and how people would ask him all the time, well, how did you do this? Or, I didn't have a car to get here. I didn't have that. And he was saying, he told somebody, well, you could have called the bus. That there are ways to achieve the dreams without making excuses. And Morgan Freeman had actually served in the military, and realized that the military was not for him. It was in his heart, in his soul, to always be an actor. And that's the path he did end up taking. But he didn't make excuses for himself. He found a way to make it happen. It's very cool, 10 lessons learned that go over that. If you just Google Evan Carmichael, Morgan Freeman, and you'll be able to see it. But it really talks about, he didn't use not having enough money as an excuse to achieve his dreams. He found a way to do it. And we often will say, yes, we want something, but are we willing to, make the money or do the things we need to do to achieve that, investing in ourselves. I remember there was a program, somebody was telling me that they really, really needed to make some money, but I was showing them a program where they can invest. They had to get, part of the education was like $45, but in turn, if they followed all the steps, they legitimately made over $400 for that month. But they never followed through on it, which to me told me, hey, they weren't really willing to take that action. It wasn't that important to them to take the steps necessary to really start bringing in that income. And it was going to be a great opportunity to give them some exposure for their writing abilities, different things that they were going to be able to do just by making that first step. But they didn't want to do it. They had the means to start with that, but they didn't want to do it. So we often say that's one of our excuses. I don't have enough money. But there are ways. There are different things we can do. We can. This is the great holiday season. There are a lot of people hiring right now for the holiday help. Starting to see all the signs up. A lot of the retail shops and different things that we could do to put extra money in our pocket. But it's whether or not we really want to do that, and we really want to take the action to get to those goals, that little extra step that we're going to have to take. And the second common excuse that we'll make is fear. And we may not even do that one consciously. It may be more of an unconscious feeling that we don't even recognize as fear that's holding us back. But it could be fear in general, or fear of the unknown. Because a lot of times it's like, if you take that step and you're not sure of what that outcome is going to be, or so you have that fear that, well, I don't know what's going to come with this and everything that's required. Or you can have that fear of actually completing something, where people will start down the path, but once you complete it, it's like, what happens next? So we hold on to it, and we'll just hold on to everything because we don't want to have to deal with letting go of that process, of the journey, of the steps that we took. And so that type of fear, there's different ways that fear can affect us from achieving our goals, from achieving our dreams. Hi, Cindy. I see you joined us. Thanks for being here again. I wasn't sure if you were going to make it today. Thank you. A third one would be when people say, this is just me, I'm not changing. This is because of life circumstances. You're just saying, this is what I turned out to be, this is who I'm going to be. It's no need for me to change. And a quote, it really comes down to our thoughts and the minds and the things that we're telling ourselves, because we will say, because of this, because of my life experience, this is where I'm stuck, this is where I have to be. But it's time to tell yourself a different story. You can write those last chapters. You can write it to be the story that you want it to be. And there's a quote by Norman Vincent Peale, and he, for those who know, most people know him, but he's an American author, and American minister, and he was an author that worked, oh God, why did I just freeze on a title? Wait a minute. It was The Power of Positive Thinking. That's it. So the quote, and if you're on my Facebook page, you even know this is the quote that's on there, is change your thoughts and you change the world. And so we start telling ourselves a different story, and we not getting this stuck, well, this is me and this is how I am. And the fact that you say this is who I am and that I'm not going to change is a choice. And you're making the choice not to change. You're making a choice to stay in this limited, belief, or stuck in the world. Because really, you could be working with a coach, you can be working with a mentor, you can have the best people around you. But if you're not willing to make the changes, if you're not really ready to take the actions, it's not going to matter who you're working with, who's talking to you. It really comes from you beginning to change your mindset, beginning to understand what it is that you truly want out of life. What are you passionate about? What motivates you that you're willing to change or to take the steps necessary to get to your goals, to get to your dreams? Because they're your goals. They're your dreams. No matter how much somebody wants something for you, you've got to take the steps to get there. So another excuse that people make is, what if someone so doesn't like it? Or, they won't like me anymore if I do this. That we get caught up in worrying about what other people think. And I say, we see it a lot with the teenagers, but we also see it so much unconsciously with adults, where they don't realize that their peer group or their family or their friends, they're really thinking, well, what would they think? I was working with a particular client who, her parents always wanted her in a particular career field. And she had reached the point she was so unhappy and miserable. And she was going to have to go to them and say, hey, this is my life and this is what I want. She was well into her 30s, but she wasn't happy. But she felt obligated to stay in that career field because it's what her parents wanted for her. And she was able to switch gears. And after a while, they understand. I have another colleague who got into teaching people how to do day trading. And he does very, very well. But he spent most of the time as a doctor. And the hardest thing he had to do was tell his parents, because of their background, the culture, and some of the things that were going to come with having to tell his parents. And they kind of didn't speak to him for a while because they were like, what do you mean you're not going to be this doctor? Because he was a very good doctor. But I would tell you, he's helped so many other people out of their situations by teaching them how to do day trading, how to be able to become financially successful. And he pays it forward, he gives it back. But having to go back and tell his parents that this isn't what I wanted was hard, but you spend so much time worrying about what other people think that becomes our excuse, that this isn't what my family wanted for me, or this friend isn't going to want to be around me because I'm now doing this, or those type of things. If we make those career changes, if we, especially when people transition from a career to start their own business, that's when you have a lot of naysayers and people telling you what you cannot do. You're going to have more people telling you what you can't do than you have people telling you what you can do. When I, when I went into the military, it was very early on in my career. I want to think it was the first year or two. And, I was a minority female in a position where there weren't many people that looked like me. I'm coming from Philly. And one of the things that happened was people would talk about me. And I remember I was in the Navy, and there was a Marine gunny sergeant who I knew since I was a little kid. And he talked to me, and he said, you know what? Regardless of if you do well and you do bad, they're going to talk about you. What happens is how you choose to handle it. Are you going to let them stop you from being successful, from doing well in your career because of them talking about you? Let them talk, and you do your job, you do it well, and you keep moving forward. And I will never forget the day we had that conversation. He's, of course, long since retired, and so am I. But it was probably the best advice that I got, that regardless of what happens in life, people are going to talk about you. I have another mentor that will tell me if they're not talking about you, you're doing something wrong. That they should be talking about you, good or bad. That's what's going to happen. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck in their career. That's where they get stuck as business owners, because they get worried about what other people think and what they're saying about them. We are each unique with wonderful gifts that God has blessed us with. Everybody's not meant to be your client. Everybody's not meant to work with you. But there's so many people out there in this world that need our gifts. So stop worrying about what they're thinking about and going out there and let yourself shine. Share. Gifts are meant to be shared. Share them. Another one excuse that we'll have is if I'll wait until tomorrow, And how many times do you see, we will buy ourselves like these really nice things and stuff, and we never use them. We talk about people who have the fine china they never use, or the nice glasses they never use. I know that I've done it where I bought like outfits and stuff that I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to wear it at some point, and I cannot fit those outfits now anymore. But you think about all those little things that we do, and I will wear it then, or I'll do this when the kids leave home, or I'll do this when I lose weight. I do a radio show, and every February we do a series on romance. And one of the common things we talk about when we talk about dating and life, our dating coaches that come on that we interview will say how a lot of women will say, I'll start dating when I lose weight. But then that doesn't guarantee who they are and what's going on, because the issues and everything that they need to deal with are still there, weight or no weight. But they'll make very all these excuses we hear about why we have to wait until tomorrow. There's never a perfect situation, and often tomorrow will never come. It's never that perfect situation. So we keep saying, I'll wait until tomorrow. Don't put it off. Stop using that as the excuse. Another one is, what if it doesn't work? But when you're thinking about if it's going to work or not, you're already predicting the outcome. You're already putting that Pandora's box there where you're saying, it's not going to work. You're already putting that energy out there. You're forecasting that this is just not going to happen without even trying. And what if it doesn't go as perfect as planned? Well, it wasn't meant to be. It might be something better out there for you. Or it may work out, the different path you end up taking is so much better than what you had in mind. It's like you think about what if it doesn't work, but you already got your backup excuses for why it did not work. You're already setting yourself up from failure, just thinking it's not going to work. But you won't know unless you try. You got to get out there and you got to try. Take the chance. And as you go through the process, you're going to be learning, you're going to be growing, and you're going to, the poem about taking the road less traveled, I like to think that I took the road less traveled in my life. And I will tell you, it has been worth the journey. But just the experiences and the different things you learn about life, about yourself, about what you truly desire. There's a quote by Elizabeth Edwards, and I have it here. She was an author, healthcare advocate, and best known for being the wife of the former Senator John Edwards. And she died back in 2010 from her bout with cancer. But her quote, this is one that I truly love, and it's, "She stood in the storm, and when the wind did not blow her way, she adjusted her sails." And that's what we got to do sometimes. If it doesn't go exactly the way we planned, we just got to adjust that sail. But we don't stop. We keep moving. Keep moving forward to that goal, to that dream. And sometimes you'll find that your goal or dream adjusts. It changes, or you may find out what you truly desire. But adjust your sail. We often, we're sitting here thinking about making excuses. And we find that these excuses can keep us from our happiness. It can keep us from achieving our dreams. It can keep us from having success. That, you'll hear me talk about success on your own terms. But most of the time, we're often that biggest obstacle standing in our way from having that. So it's time to kind of let go of those excuses. Not kind of, just do it. Start letting go of some of the excuses. There's another quote. You guys know I love my quotes and stuff. Let me see if I have this one. This one is by Ralph Marston, and he was a football player back in 1929. But this applies today, and it's one of the best quotes I think of when we're talking about making excuses. And it's, "When your reason to move forward outweighs your excuses for staying put, you will move forward." And so, we don't want to wait till there's a crisis and stuff, and then we got to stop making excuses and move forward. Have control over that. You've heard me talk about when we talk about being a victim, when we're blaming people and we're surrendering. It's like we're turning control over our lives to that circumstances, to that person who you feel has wronged you, but they've moved on with their life. When we think about that, well, is again, when you have that reason to move forward, and it's going to outweigh all the excuses. That's when most people take action, when they figure, hey, I need this because of, I'm in this bind, or it's a situation, or, but don't wait. Life is too short not to live the life of your dreams. And Robert Kiyosaki, he's the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And if you're following him, his company just went bankrupt from what the different articles say. So kind of contrary to the advice he was giving. But the quote that he said was, "One of the reasons people aren't rich is because almost everyone has more excuses than money." And that's what happens. We have excuses for all the reasons why we can't do certain things. Like I said, you're going to have more people say that you can't than you can. And you're going to have more people making excuses on why they can't do something. So I always give you the affirmation for the week. I tie it to everything that we're talking about. And we'll be talking about excuses this week. Personal responsibility and excuses. So the affirmation is, "The words I can't are not in my vocabulary. I refuse to believe my own excuses. I am unstoppable." Okay? You are unstoppable. So how do you start, you always think, okay, yeah, stop making excuses. How do I start feeling this way about myself? And one of the first things you do is start having some understanding or clarity about what it is you really want out of life. Know your why. You probably heard people say knowing your why or knowing your purpose. Really begin to kind of walk through and figure it out. Go back and think about what is it you really loved to do as a child? What were you passionate about? I will say my sister ended up becoming a nurse. And you guys hear me talk about this all the time, but she is a wonderful nurse. She's very good at it, and she loves what she does. I've seen her when my dad was sick, and she was there kind of checking things out. And I was like, ooh, I couldn't do it. Nursing, medical is certainly something I could not do. I could never stick anybody with a needle. But when you look at it, And you see how the passion between the work she does. I love it. It's great. So you think about understanding and clarity and knowing what it is, your why and your purpose for being here. We all have a purpose for being here. And then you think about the confidence and the courage to take a risk. And sometimes you got to step outside your comfort zone. No more excuses. And start by building it up with small steps and taking what I like to call calculated risk. Kind of not just, you got to think about everything else that's involved in the timing and the when and the how, but really thinking and having that courage and confidence. And figure, for some people you may have never really had that confidence, so you've got to build it up. There's a teleseminar that I do, and I haven't done it in a while. I do one on confidence and I do one on the courage to have risk, and I may do them again, because as I was thinking about the excuses and the topic and everything that I wanted to talk about this week, I was thinking about those two teleseminars and the feedback that I've gotten from doing those and giving steps and outlining ways that people can begin to start to practice and building the confidence up, because that's the only way it's going to get there. You've got to start, and you've got to start with small steps. So if that's something you'd like me to do and you want to find out about the teleseminar, it's something I just, we hop on a call, it's free, and you can message me at cowens@infinitycoaching.net if you're interested, and we'll go ahead and get that on the calendar to do it before, like in this next month or so. We can do both of them different days. But take this week and do a little bit of self-observation. I know me, I have been the master of excuses at time, and it's something that I know that I had to step out of. And I can tell you, just like even, I put off starting to do scopes for a very long time, and then my sister finally said to me, she was watching other people's scopes, it's like, why haven't you started yours? So just something, little things, and you start. And it's been, I think, 3 months now that I've been hopping on here, kind of talking to you guys and stuff. And I thank you for everybody that supports me and shows up every week. Thank you. I appreciate you. But just really, really stop. It's time to stop making excuses. And you may find that you need people in your life that's going to check you on your BS. That's going to be able to say, time out, and really walk you through those excuses. And again, it may be having a mentor. It may be having a coach. It may be being in a coaching group or coaching program. We have a great one, the Infinity Coaching Inner Circle, and you can check that out. You can look it up. It's infinitycoaching.net/inner circle. We're going to be kicking that off October 27th. That's when we'll start. It's going to be a wonderful program that will check you on a lot of the BS. It's going to be motivating, inspiring, uplifting, but it's going to also be teaching you some of those power skills you need to have the confidence, not make the excuses, and have the courage to take a risk. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's been my dream program, signature program that I've been wanting to do, and honestly, it's very affordable for anybody that's out there to join in, because what you're going to get for it is definitely more, much more than the cost. It's a very, very, very affordable program, and if you check it out, you'll see it. But for me, I know where my excuses stemmed from. I know it had a lot to do with how, feeling not worthy, feeling of not being good enough. And you think about, but what about you? What is it for you? And so spend some time this week kind of reflecting on it and thinking, why do I make some of the excuses I make? And think about the times where you do, because sometimes it's not even conscious that we're doing these things, but really kind of take a look at yourself. And the hardest thing that some people have to do is look in the mirror at ourselves. That self-awareness, that self-reflection, because sometimes we don't like what we see, but it's okay, because once you have that self-awareness and you start taking that personal responsibility, things will shift in your life, but you just got to do it. So if you have any questions for me, email me at cowens@infinitycoaching.net. Again, I thank you and I appreciate you for showing up again. If my latest edition of our newsletter will go out today, and if you're following me on Facebook or Twitter, you'll see that. It kind of gives you some ideas of what's been going on. It tells you about the inner circle, as well as I always love to highlight programs of my colleagues, so you'll see some of their stuff that they got going on. But definitely take a look at that. Again, I appreciate you for showing up. So we'll be back here Thursday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern for Success Scopes Real Talk And then for Friday, we'll be back for a follow-up Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So thank you again. I want you to enjoy the rest of your week. Have a wonderful, blessed day. And until next time, here's to your success. See ya. Okay, here. What's happening? My phone is sticking, guys. Oh, what the heck? There we go.